Today, I'm checking out the new Laney IronHeart loud pedal. This is the Martin Miller edition. Now, what's interesting about this is it's an amplifier in a pedal form factor. So you can see that it has two independent channels, a foot switchable boost and a foot switchable reverb, but it's also loaded with everything else you could ever want, including it can connect to your computer via USB and use it as an interface. You can use it as a headphone amp. You can put an auxiliary in. You have two IRs that you can have in it. You have a direct out, you have a ground lift, you have a MIDI through and in control. And then on the side, you have a send and return for the effects loop that also can be a line out. Then you have 60 watts of power at 8 ohms. And you have the collaboration with Martin Miller, and then you have an input for your guitar. So you can use it as a gig amp, put in a cabinet and basically play any kind of gig, because it's definitely loud enough for sure. It's as loud, in my opinion, it's as loud as any 20-watt tube amplifier that I've played with, which is usually plenty enough for most gigs. Let's go over its features. What you have is a treble, a bass, and a middle control, and then you have a tone control. So these work on both channels, which is really important to know. On each channel, you're going to have a volume and a gain control, as you can see right here. And then of course you have a foot switchable boost. It's got a red knob right here. This is based on one of Laney's boost pedals, just like the reverb is based on the spring reverb from one of their pedals as well. This is actually made in the UK, which is fantastic to see. And I have to tell you, it's really, really built well. Steel construction right here. And it's one of those things where I think that if we spend all this time talking the tech stuff and just don't get to the playing, you won't get a sense of it. There also is some switches right here, and we'll go into those as well. First, I just want to start with the clean, which is where I think this thing really shines. I mean, it's a beautiful sounding amp. Now this is why it's important. Without a great clean channel, this isn't really a practical amplifier for anyone who's going to gig, because as much as I like the distortion that's built into the amplifier itself, the idea that you could use this as a pedal platform is going to be most ideal. Looking at the size, you're looking at something that's essentially 3 Boss pedals wide. So it's not really huge. It's going to take up the position of 3 pedals on your pedal board. Keep in mind, that's going to be your reverb now, your amplifier, your clean channel, a boost control, and of course, like I said, it has the overdrive. So let's go ahead and play with the looper and just show some sounds, just see what it can do. So I'm going to loop the clean channel, and I'm going to use the overdrive and some delay to give you a sense of what that sounds like on top of it. That is just great. And let's focus on that distortion. I'm gonna turn off the delay. Now, if you hit that boost, that That is fantastic. Now, this is important to mention that on the clean channel of the amp, the boost engages as well. The boost, we're just pushing a little bit. Really like that. Now, what's great about this boost is not only can you push the overdrive on the amplifier and boost the clean a little bit, you can also use it to kind of use it as a mix control for guitar. So for instance, if I'm using a humbucker right now, go to that single coil. So when you switch a single coil guitar, you can switch the boost on. And get the same dynamics out of the amp that you would expect because you're getting a little bit more fullness. And like I said, having that effects loop is really nice. Let's go back to the overdrive. See how much gain we have? We're gonna go and I'm gonna juice the gain a little bit. On this control, on this channel, you have a dark switch, or a switch that lets you go to dark, then basically flat response, and then of course a bright. That's the dark. Okay, the flat response. And of course the bright. Now when you go to the other channel, what you have is a three-way switch, and what it does is it basically does symmetrical, asymmetrical, and then a clean. So let's go through those switches. Get a little bit of that breakup, and here go back to that clean. And what's nice about that is you go up the position, and then I'm going to use the gain on the clean channel a little bit. So you can see you can pull a ton of different sounds out of this thing, which is important for a platform like this, because if it's not versatile, it's not going to be useful for you. Now, a couple things to point out. It has a power supply, it runs on 24 volts with a, I think it's a 2.5 amp. It doesn't have any tubes in it, and that's something else to point out as well. This is not a tube preamp or a tube power amp pedal. This is basically just mimicking the famous IronHeart Laney amplifier, and they kind of nailed it in my opinion. I don't have a price, so if I do, by the time this comes out, I will put the price right here, what it goes for. So that would be interesting to know. That's one of the things I'm not aware of. I am impressed. Would I use this? Absolutely, because one of the things that I just don't like about lunchbox amps and these powered pedals is if I can't use the clean, it's just not going to work for me. Again, as much as I really like the overdrive in this product, I really like using my own overdrive pedals. It's just something I'm familiar with, and so if I don't have that ability, it's no good for me. And the clean on this, as you can tell, let's turn off that reverb, or sorry, the delay. This sounds fantastic. And let me juice it just a little bit. And love that. As always, I want to thank you so much for your time. I want to thank Laney for letting me check out the pedal and for giving us a preview of it, because like I said, this is a brand new product. As always, I want to thank you guys for your time. Till the next time, know your gear.